The value that AI has brought into software products today is probably in the trillions of dollars already in 2026 alone. And today I'm going to show you how you can bring the power of AI into software apps that you build with Claude Code and a React example. And I'm going to show you how you can do it from the ground up so you can do the same thing cheaply and effectively and save yourself a lot of money in the process when you're building your prototype or bringing an app into production. I'm John Namchi. I'm the founder of SIMVO. I'm also a senior software engineer at Bloomberg here in San Francisco. I've been developing apps for over 10 years now, building financial workflows for quantitative analysts. And I've also built numerous apps and AI services to bring the power of AI to our customers. So with my expertise in clear instruction, I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and do this too. So the app we're going to build today is called the CV Maxer. It's going to use AI to basically help tailor my CV to any job that I want. So I have this job here that I want to apply to, and I think I'm a pretty good match, but I think there's some missing parts or missing pieces in my CV that need to be improved. So I can go ahead, paste a job description in there. I'm going to go ahead and upload my CV as well. So with my CV there, so the AI is going to analyze my CV compared to what the job description is requiring. And then I get this AI assessment return. So it says I'm a strong match, but it also says the main gaps are the lack of explicit Python or Node proficiency. So then the AI has also generated some follow-up questions that are specific to my CV and the job description. And basically it's prompting me so that it can extract valuable information that it can use to enrich my CV so that I have a better chance of getting a callback when I apply for this job. So I'll just add some quick answers. Because of compliance reason, I can't reveal more details about my actual job. But for the purposes of this example, I have now all of these new great pieces of information extracted. And so now I just need to wait for it to be generated. And then I get an improved CV. You know, all these new orchestration tools and architectures that I didn't have before. And it's enriched a lot of my points on my current job that match exactly what this senior software role is looking for. And now I have this improved CV that's just a lot more of a match that makes me feel more comfortable to actually send to this job application. And that is how we use AI to max out your CV in this CV Maxer app. So this is what we're going to build right now. We're going to start with the main key to bringing AI into any application, and that is how you actually get the AI to respond to you. So whatever API that you use to get your AI intelligence, you'll want that API to respond to you with a JSON structured text format. That way you can extract the AI's response as code and integrate that seamlessly into the workflows and functions of your front-end apps. So in our CV Maxer example that we're going to build, a bad response we'll get back from the API is just this plain text of your CV is a medium match, so on. One area I would improve on is so-and-so. This is not a good format to have because it is free text. We're not going to be able to convert this to code or to actionable workflows that will observe in a user experience. On the other hand, a good AI response is having the AI come in as text, but the text is structured like this JSON object that you see, right? So we have the opening bracket and then the first key, which is the assessment. And then we have this questions array. Each element is a follow-up question that it wants us to answer. By having the AI respond to our questions in this structure, we'll be able to extract each of these fields individually and create workflows around this information. So we're going to learn not only how to build an app around that, but also how to get the AI to return data in this format. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the architecture of our app, how it's going to work. We're going to have our front end where we basically first upload the CV and the job description. It's going to send a request to an assess CV endpoint running on a server, which is something else that we will be creating. This server is basically going to take that job description and CV and send that to the AI API, whichever one, Claude API, OpenAI API, doesn't matter. I'm going to be using the Claude Opus API for this example. And when we get back a response, we're going to send that back to the front end. And then the front end is going to basically change the user interface to show now the new follow-up questions that we'll have to fill in. We'll fill in those follow-up questions. We'll press generate CV. That's going to send a new request to our generate CV backend endpoint. And then that's going to again, send all of that new information with a new system prompt called generate CV. We're going to send that to our AI API. We're going to get back the generated CV, and then we're going to show that to the user and then the user is going to be able to download it. So that's the basic setup, pretty much all applications use. So let's get started now. We're going to build the front end part first, where we just get the user to upload their CV and the job description, and then we'll have it send the request. And here's a prompt that we're just going to paste into Claude Code. So I'm just going to copy this prompt, and then we're going to get started. All right, so I have my project in Visual Studio Code working. It's just an empty folder, so there's nothing going on here. I'm going to start up Claude for the first time. I'm going to say I trust this folder, and then we're going to get going. So I'm going to paste that. So we're going to let this run and then come back to it when it's finished. All right, so the front end is done, and to run it, we're going to cd to front end and run npm start. So I'm just going to open a new. All right, so we got localhost opening, and great, look, we have a CV Maxer app allowing us to tailor a CV to any job with AI. So I'm going to go ahead, upload my CV, and then I'm going to find a job description. So I'm just copying the entire job description here, as you can see, and then I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm going to be able to press proceed. Now, if I press proceed, nothing's going to happen because our server is not running. So we've completed the initial request from the front end to the assess CV server. So now we actually have to first build this fast API server. So now we actually have to build this server and then create this new endpoint and provide this end-to-end, basically forwarding of CV and job description to the AI API that we choose. And for that, I have this prompt here. So here, I'm going to paste that. I'm going to create the .env file. So I have an Anthropic API key in there. I obviously can't show it to you guys, but it'll use that to create a connection. And then, yeah, let's have it go. All right, so the server is done, and we have a new route that it's serving called assess CV. It takes in the uploaded file, also the job description. And then, so this is the user message basically. And then we send this to client messages create, of which the client is the Anthropic API client. So now all we need to do is fix the system prompt. So this system prompt now is basically how we're going to tell the AI to handle the CV and job description. And for that, there's two main things, right? First, we need to tell it that it's an expert recruiter. It's tasked with improving a candidate's CV to better match the job. So, however, what is essential is that we ask it to respond with the following structure in a JSON format. We have the JSON object with an assessment key, and then we're saying just 2 to 3 sentence assessment on the match level and the reasons why. And then we also have a questions key, which is the list of questions or list of follow-up questions that we'll use later to basically enrich the CV with the AI. And then we can have some additional info that we can add to the system prompt, like what makes a strong CV, like clear quantifiable markers. And I call that additional because that helps improve the quality. But what is absolutely essential is that we have the AI respond in this JSON format. So that's what I'm going to set as the system prompt for this specific workflow. So here is my system prompt that I'm just pasting all of that in, and then we save that. All right, that's pretty much set up. So now let's go ahead and run the server. And all right, now that the server is running, let's go ahead and try it out. So what I'm going to do is inspect the network request here so that I can see exactly what the AI is going to respond to us with. This will give us an idea of if the AI is responding correctly or not, and if we're going to be able to process the data properly. So I'm going to press proceed, and then now the request is pending, so it's running. That means our backend is sending the info to the AI. So we're kind of in this part here. The AI API is sending back the data, and then we're going to get it back at the front end. And then we get it here, and look, we get it all in a result, and we have it in this type of JSON format. Look, it's pure text, right? As if it was coming out of a chat window. We have the assessment here. And then we have some follow-up questions. Your CV highlights this. The role emphasizes that. It's an early stage. Do you have? So this is already a great start. So the AI intelligence seems to be working at a basic level. We're getting it in a structured format. So all we need to do now is convert this into JSON so that we can use it as code and change the UI workflow in this app to respond to this kind of a response. And that's what we're going to have here. That's what these two arrows are for. So we're going to first develop the UI workflows to be able to handle that type of response. And then we're also going to add a capability to basically generate a CV from the follow-up questions that I answer. And so this is going to be the prompt that I send in next. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. And basically I should see now, instead of this showing up underneath when I press proceed for the first time, I'll get the assessment after, and then I'll get all these kind of new interface buttons. So we'll see that happens when this is complete. All right, so the AI is done. So let's go ahead and see if that worked. So re-upload stuff. And so now I can press proceed and it's just loading. We're waiting for the CV Max to generate us our AI analysis as well as the intelligent follow-up questions. And great, look at that. We have an AI assessment. So this is the assessment, I'm a strong match. And look, remember that structured JSON response that we got? Now it's structured into actual HTML elements within our app. And look, we have follow-up questions now that I can answer. And these were all AI generated. So as you can see, we've been able to easily integrate these into our app once we have that JSON structure. And then we can basically use this as a basis to determine the workflows. So it's cool. It's kind of found targeted questions related to the CV that I may be lacking. And so now this is going to be the basis, right, of getting the improved CV. Now that we've gotten our follow-up questions and so on, I can go ahead and get my improved CV, but this is not going to work right now because the button doesn't do anything. So we have the final part, right? We're going to send a request to a new endpoint now. This new endpoint is going to be called generate CV. And this is going to, again, send the job description, CV, but now also the follow-up answers that I've provided. We're going to send that to the AI, and then we're going to get back a generated CV. So we need to also add a generate CV prompt so that the AI knows exactly what to send back to us and how. And so for that, I'm going to add this prompt. All right, so it's done. It's created a new generate CV prompt PY file, which we're going to add the system prompt into. We also have the generate CV route now. It reads the full form, decodes the CV, pulls in the job description assessment, as well as the question and answers, and then sends it to Claude with the generate CV prompt. So now we just need to add the generate CV prompt. And for that, again, the essential part is we tell the AI what it's supposed to do. We're telling it it's a recruiter. It's given the job description, candidate, follow-up questions, and then we're going to ask it to respond with a new version of their CV with the following JSON structure. So I'll show you that in a second. I don't have enough space here to show you that. And then again, additional stuff that makes the AI do better. Things like what makes a strong CV. We already saw that before. But then also, like we said, critical output rules. We don't want to violate the JSON kind of structure, right? So we want to output raw JSON. We're going to go ahead and add that into our system prompt stuff. And great, so this is the JSON structure we wanted to use. We have a user info key, which basically has all the user info. We have a professional summary, so 2 to 3 sentences and so on. And then we have different sections for each of the work experiences someone might have. We also have education and skills and projects, so it can freely choose what to add as it likes. And then I've also added some section type rules, right? Like, so work experience, always include if the candidate has work history, we want to always include education, as well as skills. We want to use groups to organize by category and so on, include only if we have relevant projects and so on, right? So, and then lastly, let's also not forget the critical output rules. And so now we have a full system prompt to generate a CV, which is going to come back in this structure here. So let's go see that in action now. I'm gonna restart the server. I'm gonna open the network tab so that we can see what our response is gonna look like. I'm gonna click get improved CV. It's running. What's happening, right, is now generate CV. Our API is passing everything. So our Opus model is generating the CV based on everything we've given it. And then we're gonna get back the response now. We still need to process the response, but we're gonna see what it looks like soon. And great, we've got the response, and look at that. We have a very nice looking user info with all the info and so on. Right, we have a professional summary, so senior engineer, Okay, that looks good. And then we have the sections. So we have a skill sections with my languages and so on. And then so everything looks good. It looks really good. It looks like the AI response that we got. This massive line of text is in that perfect JSON structure that we're going to be able to extract and convert into a CV PDF version. So let's go ahead and do that now. That's going to be this last part here. And for that, I just have this final prompt. So we're going to ask Claude Code to fix the front end to receive back that generate CV as a JSON formatted text. convert that to JSON, and show the improved version of the generated CV as a formatted PDF document. So yeah, then at the end, we just display the generated CV as a new pane, and we're going to add a download button where we can download the new CV as a PDF. So let's go see how it can handle that. So we've pasted that text now, and it's going to go ahead and fix the front end now. All right, looks like everything is ready to go. Our CV preview renders all of the section types for your CV from the JSON. So we're going to be able to see like a PDF version, or at least a structured version. And then we also have the download PDF button so that we can actually download the new CV as a PDF. So let's go ahead and try it now. So now we're kind of building it from the start. All right, so I just filled in the questions, and what I like is, if you look, these questions are very insightful. They actually help me to add things that will improve my match for this kind of a job application and extract info from me that I didn't even know, I needed or that I forgot. And there you go. Look at this awesome CV. We have our CV set up. I have experience in agentic AI infrastructure, scalable API services from the ground up, deep expertise in all of these. And then as my work experience, I have these really, really nice pieces of information that I've added. Containerized AI services on Kubernetes. I didn't have that before on my CV. Integrated Jenkins LogRocket, event cycle logging. And look, I have very, very strong quantifiable items, to show my achievements as well. So I think last but not least, let's see if this download PDF button works. And look at that, I have my full PDF. That last page doesn't work, but we're pretty much done. So we're going to save that as new CV, and I could use it to apply to this job. So yeah, there you go. That's how we basically bring the power of AI into apps that we can deliver every day. And you saw it wasn't that difficult. People like you and I, can build this relatively quickly. It took me about just under an hour to do it. Going from here, with that base, you can improve the user interface, have it themed as you want. These are all improvements we can add now. And then finally, we can also add what are the different steps we want the AI to go through, right? We don't need to just add follow-up questions. We can also kind of add a score, right? We can show the AI, calculate some kind of a match score, like an ATS match score. And if we structure it all within some kind of JSON standard, telling the AI how to generate, all the information in a structured way. And so that's how you get an app like this. And I really hope you enjoyed watching this. There's many more videos from SIMVO where that came from. What we love to do is just bring these kinds of technical skills to the masses, make it available for everyone. So if you really like watching this, definitely subscribe, follow our channel for more. And also let me know in the comments what you'd like me to teach you next, because there's so many areas that are ripe for learning that are just within arm's reach for people who are even just semi-technical or not that technical. And that's what we're all about in this channel. So let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.